Okay, dear bonsai people, as a bonsai student, I'm naturally interested in everything that grows, not just in bonsais. So in this video clip, I'm going to talk about my tomatoes. This is the second year that I'm growing tomatoes, and so I'm fairly new to this. So I don't intend to teach you how to grow tomatoes. This is just a video log of how I did and what I did to my tomatoes. And if you can just follow the video, we'll see if I'm successful or not. Here you can more or less see how I prepared the bed. I started this since last winter. So I found a spot in my garden where I start piling all the cuttings and all the leaves and trimmings, as a natural compost place. So this was the area, and then come spring, I top it off with some soil, just cover it, planted the tomatoes, and then I put a thick layer of, grass clipping as mulch again. By the way, so I just planted this yesterday, so this is 1st of April, and we'll see how it goes. This is the first one I planted. This is the black Krim. This is some kind of heirloom tomato. I usually just like the dark color variety of tomatoes. This one I planted straight, vertically, very kind of deep. And I'm going to use the cage. The second one I planted is also a dark one. It's called Black Prince. And this one I kind of planted laying it down, like many people recommend, and I tried that last year. It worked quite well. So this year I'm going to repeat that, just laying it down, planted it horizontally, so more branches, the major trunk was buried, and this will create more root for the plant. For this black print, I plan to use a stake, or many stakes later on. And finally, this is the last one I planted. This is the Cherokee purple, one of my favorites. Same thing, I planted it horizontally just yesterday, and today you can see it already started to grow upwards. And this one I'm going to use a cage too. So I'll show you the results of all these different techniques. Do I remove the suckers or not? How do I water? There's so many different information online. Some of them conflict each other. I always see people fighting what's the best method to do. So I don't know what's the best method. I'm just gonna try to explain. This middle of April 2012. Tomatoes are growing good. Not as fast as I thought. Weather has been kind of cold lately, so that kind of slowed down the growth. But it's doing good. So the first one, I had the cage. The second one, and the third one, I already put in the cage. We'll see how this works. At the same time, I planted this plant, this tomato of unknown variety, some kind of Russian variety, given to me by a friend. Looks a little kind of weak compared to the others, but let's see how this does. Hello, it's May 5th, about 1 month from the last video shoot. So tomatoes been growing good. Lately the weather is getting warm, and this is very good for the tomatoes. As you can see, the size probably increased by 3 times in 1 month. I also started removing the lower leaves. Some of the lower leaves, as you can see, they're dying, they're not doing anything good, so just remove them. And this way you open up the bottom of the plant, and it helps the airflow. So the one that I'm using cages, I'm going to remove the suckers once in a while, here and there. Not strictly remove all of them, but I'll keep some of them, as some of them already grow. So it's going to have a lot of branches. It's going to have a lot of big branches coming out, but it's in a cage, so that should be okay. So I do remove the suckers, but not all of them. The ones that are not in the cage, I plan to for this one, for example, I'm gonna leave the first few suckers. I'm gonna leave them on, creating a multi-trunk plant, and then for each of the trunks, I'm going to remove all of their suckers. This is my plan. Yeah, this one is in a cage, so I'm gonna leave some sucker on, some not, just to see how everything works out. It's June 8, roughly a month after my last video shoot, and that's make a big difference on the tomatoes. Look at them now. In the past months, the weather has been again very warm, very nice, so they grow like crazy. This first one is the black Krim in the cage. The cage worked quite well, it contained the plant, it kept it compacted, but some of the branches came out sideways, so now I have to try to stake these branches. But it's doing good, a lot of flowering. This plant, a close up about the fruits of the black Krim. I have about 7 or 8 of these in this plant, around this size. Okay, this is the second plant, is the Black Prince. Doing fairly well too. I'm not using the cage, I'm using stakes, and I'm leaving all the suckers initially, so I will have created like a multi-trunk system, and then each trunk I then stake them and then religiously remove all the suckers, so they just grow upwards and no sideways. So I have about six trunks growing all from the same plant. This is doing well actually. I have to say, maybe this is the method for Black Prince. So this is a close up of the fruits. I have about 15 of these right now, this size. So it's very productive actually compared to a shot of the Black Prince from the other side. In the back is the Black Krim. Here's the third one. This is the Cherokee Purple. This is the second year that I have the Cherokee Purple. I like it. I'm using the cage, so it grows well initially like a bush, but then as it grows older and a lot of same thing, a lot of branches start coming out on the sides, and I have to use stakes now. This is the same thing that happened last year. I'm not sure if this is the best way to deal with this, but it worked well. And as a producer, it's also doing very good. It's has the largest fruit now among my tomatoes. The Cherokee Purple. A lot of flowers too. A lot of fruits. In fact, it has the biggest fruit of the all 3 plants. And I have about also 15 to 20 of these Cherokee Purple from the other side. I've been watering this plant, initially when I first planted, then once every month. But now that they have fruits, I'm gonna start fertilizing them more often, like once every 2 weeks. And this was the Unknonwn Russian specimen, something emerald, that I added later. So this plant started about 3 weeks later than all the other plants. And now it's June 8. For this plant, the experiment was to remove every single sucker, so it just only grow upwards. Doing good too. It has a very strange shape for the fruit, kind of like a peach, long peach shape. Not very productive at the moment. I probably have like nine fruits. But we'll see how this turns out. I mean, really, it does require less work, less maintenance work, because when you remove these suckers, there's not much to do. Just one single stake. And also, it doesn't take a lot of space, so I can see the benefit of using one stake.